Fish! River style!
Wow. Not bad.
We're gonna have to get that on film next time. Ever work in a sushi bar, mister?
Saran. Paul Saran. Where are you from, Mr. Saran? Paraguay. Really? I started out studying for the priesthood. But then, I needed to see the real world. So I ended up in the jungle. I seem to fit.
Tell me, what does a failed priest do in the jungle?
Fail? Who says I failed? I didn't fail.
I'm sure you didn't.
Well, what is your calling now?
Snakes. Snakes? I catch them. For zoos and collectors. Whatever they want.
Poaching?
Poaching is illegal. May I ask what you're hunting?
We're not hunting or trapping anything.
We're making a documentary on the Shirishama Indians.
The people of the mist?
That's right. You've heard of them?
I've seen them.
Really? You think you could show me where that was?
The people saved my life. This I can do. I can show you exactly where I saw the Shirishama.
So slurs every other river rat after 5 whiskeys in any bar in Manaus. Come on, love it.
5 whiskeys? That's breakfast in the river.
A modern day remake of Matthew Vaughn's Lake. Kick a Coen brothers end up with Timothy Chalamet. A Citizen Kane prequel, a Midnight Cowboy sequel. Alvin and the Chipmunks deserve another squeakquel. So many new ways to revisit sideways, but a graphic novel is how we choose to update. But we still hold fast, you can't change the past on the Ruined Childhoods podcast.
Big A, Little A, What Begins with A? Aunt Annie's Alligator, AAA. This is the first entry in Dr. Seuss's ABC, an amazing alphabet book. First published in 1963, this classic has stood the test of time, finding itself on small bookshelves in homes and classrooms around the English-speaking world. But it has also been criticized as it draws comparisons between letters and fictional or unknown animals. In their 1992 essay, O is for Mouse, First Encounters with the Alphabet Book, Laura B. Smolkin and David B. Yates Jr. argue that Seuss's ABC book contains illustrations that appear to violate the criterion for easily identifiable objects. Similarly, Smolkin and Yates argue that another children's book, A is for Angry, depicts animals that go by more than one name. For example, in this book, the animal representing L is a lamb, though most kids would call it a sheep. It also shows an opossum for O, though some kids would easily omit the O, calling it a possum, and even some cases calling it a mouse. And A is for Angry was written by Sandra Boynton, whose fame in the children's board book world has grown immensely since taking the leap from illustrating greeting cards in 1973 to publishing her first book in 1977. In 1996, Boynton began writing music for kids, often creating musical versions of her books, collaborating with a wide range of celebrities. The list includes, but is not limited to, Weird Al Yankovic, Kate Winslet, Fountains of Wayne, Brian Wilson, Ben Folds, The Spin Doctors, and actor Eric Stoltz. Stoltz rose to fame in the 1980s and 90s as an actor, appearing in films such as Masks, Some Kind of Wonderful, Memphis Belle, and Pulp Fiction. But in 1997, Stoltz appeared in a film that nobody could have known would be a cult classic about a documentary film crew in the Amazon who encounters a crazed animal collector on the hunt for his next prize. Should this 40-foot animal have appeared in either Dr. Seuss or Sandra Boynton's ABC books, readers might confuse it as one starting an S for snake, but the reality is that this monster goes by a much different name. Greetings, Starfighters, this is Ruined Childhoods, and on this episode we discuss Anaconda. Dan, nothing in this world terrifies me more than a snake. What's your greatest fear?
My greatest fear. Okay, so first of all, definitely scared of snakes.
Yeah.
Definitely scared of, I would say being, it's like a cross between being buried alive and drowning.
Really?
Like at the same time. Yeah, this was actually we did this back in my filmmaking days when we would do these like film races and film competitions, these online things, and we did one for it was like some like the horror channel or something like that. I forget what it was, but the prompt was your greatest fear, and because I was collaborating with other people, we kind of tried to do a mix of our greatest fears, but it definitely has that like trapped, buried alive, and drowning sense. It was called Confined.
Dang.
So I would say that's my greatest fear. And then if you throw some like snakes in there or bees, that would make it worse.
Bees. Okay.
I understand. And by the way, like logically, I understand, especially with bees, that, if you don't attack them, they don't attack you.
Right. Yeah.
And all of the good in the world that they do, I understand and respect that, but fear is not rational.
When you're looking for Veda's mood ring and you come across a bee's nest, you just get the ring and get out of there.
Oh my goodness. No, well, sometimes you don't.
Leave them be. Be.
That's
next episode's letter.
There we go. There we go. Don't worry, we didn't just spoil anything.
Yeah, we're this is season 3, everybody. Welcome. This is the season where we're covering the alphabet A to Z, Z to A, our cinematic alphabetic yo-yo.
Because we wanted something else that we could do over the course of a full 52 weeks.
I know. Yeah. We were just like, all right, what else is 52? And it's like, well, the alphabet twice. So here we are. Anaconda. What a great way to start our journey through the alphabet and back.
Through the alphabet, through the Amazon, through Jon Voight.
Oh, and Jon Voight's doing a lot in this one.
We'll talk more about Jon Voight and Jon Voight's performance and everything. So, John, was this your first time seeing Anaconda?
Well, yeah, like I said, nothing terrifies me more than like even the thought of a snake. And so, like when I was little, if I was going through a book about animals and I knew that a snake was on a page, I would skip that page. I couldn't even look at a picture. And I can identify with Indiana Jones and also Pee Wee Herman when he's going through the pet store trying to rescue the pets.
Definitely. The most relatable part of that movie, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. And like even watching,
for me at least,
even watching this like 1997 animatronic / CG, like crude CGI Anaconda, it like anytime it was on screen, I felt like my blood was like evaporating. It was tough.
I have to say, for that, like, kind of late 90s, that like that combination between the animatronics and the digital, I have to say, I think they did a pretty good job.
They did a damn good job. They did.
Yeah.
Man,
that is a threatening stake. Well, shall we jump into the synopsis here?
You know what, Dan? Why don't you go ahead and do the honors?
Much as the characters in this film dive right into the Amazon.
Yeah.
Let's dive into this synopsis here. A small documentary crew is in the Amazon to make a film about the indigenous peoples who have inhabited the region for centuries, thought to have been long lost. But before they could get very far, a team of exotic animal poachers manages to feed on the generosity of the group, who offered to bring them to a safe port. But for the main poacher, Paul Cerrone, a more nefarious plot is in effect. He convinces sound guy Gary to help him tranquilize and capture a rare anaconda that is guaranteed to net them $1 million. The plan goes awry, and the anaconda they catch breaks free from its trap, now making this crew's death the one thing on the anaconda's mind. Jennifer Lopez is Terry Flores, the rookie director who sees this opportunity as her big break. Eric Stoltz is Dr. Stephen Cale, Terry's researcher boyfriend. We have Ice Cube as Danny Rich, the brave camera operator, and Owen Wilson as the aforementioned Gary Dixon, the sound guy who's more invested in his personal life than in making a nature documentary. And then, of course, we have Carrie Wurr, Denise Kalberg, as Denise Kalberg, Gary's girlfriend, who Owen Wilson is more invested in there. Also the crew's production manager. Jonathan Hyde plays Warren Westridge, the snooty on-screen talent who shows little to no respect for the pristine Amazon River. We have Vincent Castellanos as Mateo, the local boat captain who unbeknownst to the film crew is a poacher working with Paul Cerrone, played by Jon Voight.
That's right. And not to mention Danny Trejo, who only appears very briefly at the beginning as another poacher.
Yeah. Instantly setting the tone that if this snake can, and this isn't early on in the movie, so I don't think we need to hit the spoiler alert.
No.
But when the snake can take down Danny Trejo easily, you know that this snake is nothing to trifle with.
And also, this particular snake, assuming this is the same one that got Danny Trejo, is diabolical. Like, it has a mission. It is not just that, it came across Danny Trejo or the other characters. It's like, once it has its mind set on, squeezing them until they could hear their bones break.
Mm-hmm.
and then swallowing them whole. That's all I can think about.
That is its mission, and that is what it does. That is what it was put on this planet to do.
Yep.
And yeah, so wow. We've got quite a cast. Great cast here, and especially if you look at 1997, you've got so many people right at the start of their maybe not the start of their careers, but where they're just becoming famous. Yeah. Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez in particular.
Yeah, well, let's go one by one. Let's start at the kind of in the bottom of the call sheet. So Owen Wilson, I mean, Armageddon was what year? Was that this year?
No, 98.
98. So that's right around this time.
He had before this, it was Bottle Rocket and like what else?
Well, Cable Owen Guy Wilson? Briefly.
Right.
Yeah. So, smaller roles, a lot of stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I thought that he was really good. He makes sense to me.
Most prominent. This was his most prominent, Hollywood mainstream role.
Yeah.
To date. Yeah.
Sure.
And he's great. And he does the Owen Wilson thing,
But, for him to be kind of like.
Make you horny? Like it makes.
Yeah.
I don't.
For him to be like the not very serious guy on the crew, like a sound guy, that totally makes sense to me.
Oh, he's perfect. I mean, these are all like archetypes, all of these characters, and like the actors fit them well because you have to have the horny couple that at some point is going to go out and this, I won't give much away because if people haven't seen this movie, I am actually going to recommend watching it. So
it's a lot of fun.
Certainly, it is a lot of fun. Oh, I'm glad you feel that way. I didn't know, and it had been a long time since I had seen it, so I didn't know if it was still going to have the same kind of fun element that it had. I used to have a dubbed copy on VHS.
Oh wow!
That was how I never saw it in the theater.
The things that make it stand out are, and we'll get back to these performances in a second.
Yes,
but the ridiculousness of Jon Voight and his accent make it so enjoyable to watch because it's like, oh no, he's really going for it. And I really wish he would stop, but I don't want him to stop. It's a train wreck, that kind of a situation.
No. And you know what, John, I felt that way because this was also like, speaking of Jon Voight, and I know, we're kind of definitely going out of order here. But with Jon Voight, this was also at a renaissance period in his career, coming
Yeah.
off of Heat,
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. I feel like there was something else around that time, but he had kind of cooled off, or he hadn't been doing as much.
Yeah, well, I
higher
guess,
profile work.
Midnight Cowboy, Coming Home, Deliverance, it was just like out the gate, banger, banger, banger. And then there was like a quiet period. But yeah, coming back as kind of like the elder is really a great moment for Jon Voight.
Well, I feel like he's like playing, if this had been 3 years later, it would have been Christopher Walken.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So
but you have him also at this interesting point in his career. But yeah, Owen Wilson kind of just coming up. Kari Wuhrer.
Yeah. Well, I just want to quickly say the other things that made this movie like as enjoyable as it was. I would also say that the charisma of Ice Cube and the raw talent of Jennifer Lopez, that at this time, she's a musician, a performer, done a couple little movies here and there, but like
Selena.
Well, Selena was the same year.
Was Selena the same year or the year before?
The same year.
The same year?
Yeah. Yeah, which she's fantastic in. And
yeah. I mean, she's, it's like we forget about it because between the tabloids and her music career and everything, but in the mid to late 90s, she was really like making a lot of great impressions with her performances. Maybe not as much Anaconda, but Selena, and then Out of Sight.
Out of Sight's fantastic. By the way, Anaconda comes out April 11th, 97. Selena came out March 21st, 97.
Oh, wow.
So in theaters at the same time.
Okay. All right.
Two very, very different movies.
Extremely different movies. Yeah. And I mean, she only survives the one with the giant killer snake. Oh, what? I mean, sorry. I know it's tragic.
It's very tragic.
And watching the movie when you know what's going to happen, and
Well, okay. Quick Selena aside. I watched the movie actually the other day for the first time, and I knew that she was killed, but I feel like I knew at one point how she was killed, like who killed her, but I didn't remember. And then watching it, I was like, wait, did that person kill her? Oh wait, no, is it this person? And then it's when it happens, it's just like, yes. And then like I kind of remembered the news and
the whole story,
all those kind of things. The whole story, yeah. Great film. Edward James Olmos is really tremendous in it, and of course Jennifer Lopez is really great. But yeah, in this movie, she kicks ass. She does have a slight romantic storyline with Eric Stoltz's character, but Eric Stoltz is asleep half the movie. So they do a really good job of making it not about some sort of like, romantic connection thing. It's almost like,
right,
okay, there's something going on there, but that's not important. He's gonna, get knocked out for a while. And a worse version of this movie has her and Ice Cube, having a romantic thing.
Well, and if I may, I wonder if the whole setup with Eric Stoltz is intentional, so that audiences aren't, so that that's really not what audience are thinking of. I mean, not that it would be implausible for a character to have a fling with another character while their romantic interest was, on his deathbed.
Yeah. But
it's also not this character, and they do show her going back to him.
Yeah.
And they're concerned, and it's also the Ice Cube Jennifer Lopez relationship, and I totally agree with you. in a lesser version of this, they get together,
Right.
but their chemistry, their platonic chemistry, is really fantastic.
Yeah. And also, and I got to do this.
Spoiler alert.
The fact that it's two people of color that are the heroes of the story is like the one other thing that made this movie feel like really good for me to watch.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a lesser version of this movie, they'd be dead first. Anyway.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, a lot of consideration. You know, how ironic, a movie featuring Jon Voight, who,
Oh my God.
yes, I mean, we don't need to spend time on him. If anyone does not know about Jon Voight's leanings and beliefs
Sure.
and values, Google it. But fortunately, this was at least, I mean, maybe not before he felt that way, but before it was obvious.
Right. Yeah. So also the director, Luis Llosa, are you familiar with a lot of his other work?
I've actually seen another one of his films in the theater, because I saw The Specialist in the theater.
You saw The Specialist in the theater. I watched it the other day. Holy cow.
Ooh.
Speaking of people with questionable politics, you know, it's Sylvester Stallone and James Woods. And
yeah.
I gotta say, that movie's fun to watch. It is bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But Anaconda is...
Well,
like, I feel like The Specialist at least has this like faux seriousness to it.
Oh, it takes
Anaconda.
itself very seriously.
Anaconda
Very seriously.
is balls to the walls bonkers.
Yeah. Totally.
So anyway, getting back to the cast. So yeah, we've got Owen Wilson, Kari Wuhrer, who was in a lot of things. She was in everything, more prominently in Eight-Legged Freaks,
right?
David Arquette, which I remember. I mean, I haven't seen that movie in many years, but I remember watching it on DVD and thinking that was fun.
She was fine. She kind of played the role that she was there to play and did it the way that it was supposed to be done.
Yeah, exactly. So, so she's in there, and you've got Ice Cube.
Oh, who's tremendous. You know, another person
is
who's towards the beginning of their film career, we should say.
A little bit more into it by this point.
Towards the beginning. Yeah.
Right. But at this point, it's almost 6 years since Boys in the Hood.
What year was Friday?
95.
Okay.
And then Higher Learning was 96.
Right. So he, you know, came out really strong with a few, and then we've got Anaconda where, you know, and I really did love the nods to his, you know, music career. You know, his first line, "Today's going to be a good day," is just like,
yes.
I was just like, I am in with this character 100%.
Right. It was so much fun. So much fun with that. All right. We have to talk about Jonathan Hyde.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah. One of the lesser name actors here, but somebody who you'd recognize from Jumanji, from Titanic.
Yeah.
I recognized him from Richie Rich.
Oh.
I was like, he's the butler in Richie Rich. He's kind of like him and Paxton Whitehead at some point should have played like brothers.
Yeah, he was good. You know, when they showed the footage of them like filming, you know, the actual documentary, and he's on camera and he's talking about the region and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, I buy this guy. I buy it. And also it's like he's a total jerk when the camera's not rolling, but he does good things. He, you know, he stands up when he's supposed to, and
he does.
And good on him for that. I love the scene though. You know, they're blowing up this certain area to get through, and all of these snakes just kind of rain down on them. And Jon Voight's like, oh, they're little baby snakes. They're well, throw them back to the mama. Throw them back to the mama. And there's like the one that goes on his finger, and is
Mhm.
like biting the tip of the
Oh.
finger, which made me like cringe. And he's like, "Oh, it's just a little baby. We gotta send it back to its mama."
So funny.
Yeah, but I mean, Westridge, his like reaction to all of that was really fantastic, and
Yeah.
I loved all of the like the golfing stuff. I mean, which is just like, oh, okay, so the wildlife is just gonna choke on golf balls. I thought that that was gonna play a bigger role in defeating the anaconda, but instead
right.
it was more of a, thwarting Cerrone.
Yeah. Yeah. And then let me see who else cast wise do we need to talk about here. I mean,
Not a big cast, so
Vincent Castellanos, who,
Mateo.
Yeah, Mateo, which I tried to find a copy of the screenplay for Anaconda so I could search and see how many times it's said in the movie.
I also want to clarify for our listeners, if either Dan or I are doing a particular voice, it is not that we are trying to emulate the voice of somebody from South America. We're just doing Jon Voight's version of that. So we're making fun of Jon Voight specifically in his way over the top. Like, why did he get cast in this? Like, he's supposed to be what, Argentinian, Venezuelan, something like that, Peruvian.
Yeah.
And he's like,
something,
and he's super white. I don't understand that casting. I mean, certainly they could have found, 20 other, people who were better, like, in a day.
Was Antonio Banderas busy?
Antonio Banderas, Edward James Olmos, like they're
Edward
just
James
at that time.
Olmos.
Yeah, the
Man.
the instant Selena reunion. He would have been fantastic.
You know who else I'm surprised?
Although I will say, we're all quick, Dan, I will say there's the move when Jon Voight's tied to the pole, and the way that he kind of gets out of that situation and does bad things. I couldn't picture Edward James Olmos doing that.
No. I mean, look.
Although I guess I can't picture Jon Voight doing it either.
No, but ultimately, like, for this type of movie, it somehow is perfect casting.
Well, I appreciate that if they're going to have a villain, it's at least played by a white guy.
And that it's Jon Voight.
It's Jon Voight. It's played by a real life bad guy.
Like, I just kept thinking, I'm like, oh, right. Well, spoiler alert.
Oh, do I need to hit the button?
I mean, I don't know, maybe.
Spoiler alert.
There we go.
I mean, that's all I kept thinking. I was like, oh boy, that's right. Jon Voight gets totally ingested by that snake, and I can't wait.
It is pretty glorious the way that happens, and then when he gets spit out, it is set up in the beginning in, I think, just in text, where it says that they sometimes will regurgitate their prey just to like kill it again or whatever.
Yeah.
And when he comes out and essentially like, and he like winks his like corpse, like his digested corpse, like winks at Jennifer Lopez. It's so weird.
It's fantastic. It's so creepy, and it's so like just so over the top that it works. Like, it's the right balance. This movie has the right balance of silliness and like some legitimately suspenseful, intense sequences.
Sure. Yeah. And then you get, the second Anaconda, later on, which it's like, of course there's more than one.
Anaconda.
And that just becomes really exciting. And, for that one to have such a problem with this crew is not as understandable, but I guess it's just like, ooh, toys to play with or whatever. That's pretty ridiculous, but it's just
I didn't get as much. I didn't get as much of the sense of like it's like Jaws 4, where the shark follows Lorraine Gary to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no Brody left behind.
Yeah, it's like, how would it have even found her? There was no internet.
If I can reference us
No
back to
shark
the
internet.
archive, well, my theory was that they were psychically connected.
Oh, there was a Shine situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Shine like David Helfgott with the piano, but Shine like The Shining.
Shine. Wasn't that? Oh, what's his name?
Come on. Oh, it's a
why am I
brilliant performance.
Jeffrey Rush.
Great. Yeah.
I don't know
Jeffrey
why.
Rush.
I
haven't seen
I knew I
much
could
from
recall
him
it.
in a while.
Wasn't he in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies?
He was in like the original Pirates of the Caribbean.
Was it
movie,
the first one?
Yeah. He was like the
I don't
bad
know.
guy in that.
Honestly, it's been so long since
Yeah.
I've seen any of those that I really don't remember.
I think he came back, but I feel like Jeffrey Rush kind of has the ability to kind of be our new Michael Caine.
Oh, I don't know. Michael Caine was working on that for a long time.
Well, I know, but Jeffrey Rush is no spring chicken.
No, what I'm saying is that like Michael Caine was, planting the seeds in the 70s to become the Michael Caine that he then turned into.
Yes,
and
I mean,
you're just
I'm
being like the
basically
elder
saying-
statesman who's Alfred and
exactly. That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. I'm like, Jeffrey Rush will play Alfred at some point.
I guess time will tell.
After they finish with the Matt Reeves Batman, because they already have what's Gollum, what's his face as
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, thank you, as Alfred.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Anaconda, because like
back to
how
Anaconda.
often do we get to just talk about Anaconda?
Yeah, I had a really good time watching this. It was kind of strange that like I guess I would have maybe wanted to see more locations. They kind of are just kind of in a couple different locations just sitting there for a while. I mean, the final location is kind of fun. But I think that I wanted this to be a little bit more Fitzcarraldo-y in the sense that like they're really traveling and you can like tell that they're in the vastness of the Amazon.
Okay, so you brought up Fitzcarraldo, which I was going to bring it up because of the part when they're listening to opera on the boat as it's going down the river.
Right. True.
Intentional shout out to Fitzcarraldo.
Very well could be. It very well could be.
Right? I certainly I had no idea what Fitzcarraldo was the first time I saw this, or the last time I saw it before recently. But
yeah, having
now seen that movie, it felt very Fitzcarraldo. So
I wish that it was a little bit more.
Movie.
Yeah, I wish it had a little bit more, like some like helicopter shots or something where it's just kind of showing, where they are. You never get really a sense of like their location at any given moment. Not that like there are geographical landmarks.
It's as vague as Jon Voight's like nationality in it.
Oh boy.
It's just like they're in the jungle. This is all you need to know. They're in South America. They're in the jungle, and that's all you like. And I love it. There's even a line, and I wrote it down because I was like, I can't just hear this in my head when sorry, I'm looking at my notes where I have, "Ooh, rock me, I'm Mateo."
Oh God.
And yeah, so there's a line, I think it's Jon Voight says it, where he goes, "You know where you are?" And I think I said it out loud back to it. "You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die."
You know where you are? Oh, Mateo's dead.
And the other thing that this movie makes me think of and remember is I was in college when it came out, and I was at the Mason Gross School of the Arts at Rutgers University, which was run by William Esper, who trained under Sanford Meisner, who also trained Jon Voight. And I remember someone cut out from like the Star Ledger review, they cut out, there was a picture of Jon Voight in the movie, and they just posted it up on like the department bulletin board and wrote on it, Meisner trained to battle snakes. Now, I remember it perfectly. There's no photo of it. Like, no one had it. There was no, it was 1997. So, but I do remember.
You just had your memories.
That, it was just in the moment.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that.
You were just touching grass.
I always remember. It was a newspaper clipping. It was terrible. You could touch it. And yes, Meisner trained to battle snakes. And
well, thank you to whoever did that. If you're listening, we salute you.
It is.
That'd be a weird coincidence.
It was like, and I never even cared to know who did it. I was like, this is a gift. Thank you.
It's a blessing. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Jon Voight. Ugh.
So that's, that's that's the deal with Anaconda is I was really I don't want to say nervous, because this is not like a childhood favorite film for me or something, but
so
I
what?
was like,
a cult
I remember
classic.
this. No, but I'm saying, like, I remember it being, I remember enjoying this when I was like 20, and I don't know, watching it now, I'm like, is it just going to kind of seem shitty and exploitative? And as we've already discussed, it actually avoids a lot of the exploitative issues that movies of this genre seem to be plagued by. And it has, despite the special effects being at that special effects crossroads where it was like, we don't really know how to do this yet, but we're not doing that anymore. And it really held up. And I'm sitting here watching it. And granted, like, I'm not watching it in like 4K on like a giant, huge screen, but I'm still looking at a pretty decent picture. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little fake, but I'm like, it feels tangible. I'm like, yeah, it still gets you.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie to watch. It's a breeze to get through. I mean, how long is it? It's not very long at all.
Hour and a half, hour 40.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And 89 minutes. Look at that.
Yeah. That's it.
And
that's all you need.
In and out of there, it's fine. It's suspenseful, but I didn't find it like incredibly scary. I mean, I think that just the snakeness of it all is what got me more than like the particular actions of these particular snakes. I was so, I guess, engrossed by the performances of Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez that it was just so much fun. And I had a great time. I mean, the Eric Stoltz aspect of it was, I don't know, kind of strange. I mean, I guess it did what it needed to do, but I'm glad that they kind of just like kept him, kind of comatose for a little while, so that like the real fun people can do what they got to do. And I mean, there's a reason why people look at this movie as being the cult classic that it is. There's a reason why it's had like, I think 4 sequels and a rumored reboot.
And a Chinese remake from earlier this year.
That's true. Have you seen any of the sequels? I think like David Hasselhoff is in 1 or 2. I watched the trailers and they look how you think they would look.
Right. Now, it feels like this is kind of on its own. And I know that like Anaconda's is kind of it's more of like, I think, a Twisters style like sequel where it's not like they reference this, like, the crew, this like Terry and all that, but they don't really, at least like that's what I read, was it's really its own thing.
Well, I will say also, if you're going to compare Anaconda and Twister to Anacondas and Twisters, Anaconda has multiple anacondas. Twister has multiple twisters. There's even the like twins at the one point.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you can't like aliens this. You know, it doesn't work the same when the original has multiple of what you're talking about. So pluralizing it doesn't quite work the same.
I guess so. I don't know. I have not seen Twisters, and I'm fan of the original.
I'm a big fan of the original. I saw Twisters in a one of those like rumble seats. It was at like a Regal theater. I forget what they call.
Did you see in 4DX?
It's not 4DX. I think that's like AMC's, thing.
No, that's the Regal, because that's how I saw Inside Out too. It was like the seats moved.
It's okay. Then yeah, I guess it was that. But it was. I was like, I've never done a movie like this before. I don't want to do the ones where like they blow like wind and smell in your face and water on you.
That's 4DX.
Oh, then no, I didn't do that.
It didn't do that. Okay.
It was just the sheet, the sheet shaking, the seat shaking. So it was whatever that is called, D box or something like that. I think it's called D box. And so, and it was fine. And I'm glad I did it with that experience, because otherwise I probably just would have been bored. Because it was kind of a boring movie. And, I mean, it's like, I don't know, I'd rather just watch the first one again. It didn't ruin my childhood, but, I don't think that's a possible thing to do. So here we are.
Exactly.
But there is the rumored Anaconda remake. I think that they're calling it like a reboot or a remake that is allegedly going to star Jack Black and Paul Rudd.
Yes, I read about this, and I read about the concept of it.
Yeah.
Have you read what the concept is?
No. What is it?
That it's about like a group of friends who are trying to remake Anaconda.
Oh no.
So it's kind of like a meta remake, and
so it's almost,
it sounds like kind of like a Tropic Thunder type thing, maybe.
So, okay, Tropic Thunder with Jack Black, but it also sounds like Be Kind Rewind with Jack Black, where he remakes all the movies because he erased them because he was magnetized.
Perhaps. Or, I don't know, maybe he accidentally set the office on fire where the last copy of Anaconda was, and, like in Orange County.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he could have done. Anyway, that was kind of what I read about it, which is disappointing.
I mean, I would see it. If it was that with them, I would be intrigued enough to check it out. I don't know if I'd like rush to the theater to see it, but I like as soon as it became available to stream, I would probably stream it.
Yeah, probably. But that's not good enough for me.
Yeah. I wonder if J-Lo would be part of it.
Oh.
So I also decided to kind of refamiliarize myself with some of the other Jennifer Lopez movies, and I watched like The Wedding Planner, where she's with McConaughey, and she's good. She's solid. I mean, she's gotten a little strange lately. I heard that her documentary that she made is a little weird. Like about herself, and I think like her relationship with Ben Affleck, that seems a little strange, a little too much like, I'm okay not being too involved with your life. But it just seemed, I think like it was a messy situation.
It kind of seems like that's kind of what's set her back, maybe in her acting career at least, is that her personal life always seems to find its way in to her. I mean, look at
that's true.
Geely.
Well, I mean, that was quite a long time ago already.
20, I mean, I think 20 years ago. But you think about that, like that kind of that.
Oh, right. She was in Money Train in 95. Oh,
yes.
That was good.
Yes.
Well, so she kind of had, I think it was like Hustlers was supposed to be kind of her resurgence. And then, of course, she teamed back up with Owen Wilson for Marry Me.
Oh.
Back in 2022.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, This Is Me Now, a love story is that's to go along with her album This Is Me Now, and it's a drama, musical, film, and visual accompaniment. It seems pretty strange. This year though, I mean, she also has a sci-fi movie that I think was straight to Netflix called Atlas.
Yeah.
Unstoppable, which is a kind of a biopic. And then
of herself?
No. Some sort of wrestling or boxing thing. I'm having trouble like looking at Jennifer Lopez, Bobby Cannavale, Michael Pena, Don Cheadle.
Oh.
Produced by Ben Affleck. So anyway, and then it looks like she's going to be in looks like they're doing Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Oh, okay. The musical version, or
Kiss of the Spider Woman is an upcoming American musical drama film written and directed by Bill Condon. Feature adaptation of the 92 stage musical. And so that one produced by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And it's with J-Lo, Diego Luna, and a couple of other folks. So
that was a film, or that was originally a film with Raul Julia and William Hurt and Sonia Braga.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, but we're talking. Let's bring it back to Anaconda. You know, towards the start of J-Lo's incredible and prolific film career.
Yep.
And, we discussed, there's the sequels and this potential, I guess reboot or new movie in the series, I guess kind of picking up where Anaconda leaves off in our universe. I don't know. But Dan, what would you do given the opportunity?
Oh, I'd straight up remake this.
Tell me what you got in mind.
I would love to just, straight up like remake Anaconda. I don't know how much I would really change.
Like shot for shot, line by line. Do you have any cast in mind, directors?
I just wrote Blumhouse it up.
Oh, okay.
Like, throw it, I guess I don't know because I'm not following horror as closely, but there are like so many like new like filmmakers who could make their name with an Anaconda remake or
right.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily, in thinking about a remake of Anaconda, I was like, you know what? You don't need someone with like 30 years experience.
Yeah.
Doing this, you find someone who's got, some skills. You get a younger filmmaker in there. And in terms of casting, like, I don't think you necessarily need to be like, okay, well, we need an Ice Cube type for this. We need
an Eric Stoltz type. Well, if you need an Ice Cube type, you know who you're getting.
Well, yes. Yeah, no, yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's the thing is like
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Yes, of course. But, no Willem Dafoe as Cerrone.
Oh, yeah. You'd probably get Danny Trejo.
I would love to get Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Back in this. But yeah, I mean, actually it'd be really interesting if you had like the casting was somehow like there was some connection to the previous actors, like O'Shea Jackson instead of Ice Cube. And then you have, like Liev Schreiber as Cerrone.
Oh, Liev Schreiber.
Because Jon Voight played his father on Ray Donovan.
Oh, Oh, gotcha. I was like, what's the connection there? Okay.
Well, or Angelina Jolie
Sure.
as
I don't know,
Saron.
but also it's like, look, if you're gonna have, Latin, character, you gotta have somebody in there that's, born to play that kind of a role.
Well, yeah, yes, yeah. Yeah. So I know.
Did you learn
know-
nothing from John Leguizamo at the Emmys?
Correct. I learned nothing from John Leguizamo at the Emmys because I didn't watch them.
Oh, well,
All right, no. So who I would cast as? Oh wait, I wonder if Javier Bardem would be down for something like that.
well, Javier Bardem, is he Spanish?
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't look. I think a remake would be fun. I think whoever you put in that role, it's got to be someone, especially since you're not going to cast a white American actor.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what about, could we do Oscar Isaac? Can we put Oscar Isaac in there?
I think he's half Guatemalan.
Honduran? I thought he was Honduran.
Honduran, maybe. Yeah. I mean, look, you know where we stand on Oscar Isaac.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. I hesitate, even though there were some parts in the movie where I was watching it and I was like, damn, like this in 3D would be fucking fun to watch.
It is.
In a
It looks
theater.
like it's kind of made to be done in 3D.
Parts of, I mean, the point of view right before it eats Voight. When he, oh, by the way, that was my theory as to why they say Mateo's name in it so much is because
Mateo.
all of the other actors, you don't even need to know their character names. You could just be like, oh, okay, so J-Lo's gonna go get that over there, and then Owen Wilson's gonna, no, Cube's got the gun.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah. So I guess I think that's what I would do is just make a great remake that people will want to go to theaters to see.
Yeah.
And maybe you connect it back to this somehow. Maybe you have J-Lo, maybe you have some cameos. Or maybe you don't.
Yeah.
Maybe you just make it and you're just like, it's Anaconda. It's a remake of the 1997 movie, which itself is, it's like a takeoff on Jaws and Alien and all that. And it's just, hey, it's time for an Anaconda remake.
Okay. All right.
Let's do it.
Sure.
My Anaconda don't want none.
Here's, $200 million. Go ahead and make it. Go for it.
Absolutely.
Or just pocket the money and run away.
Make that Anaconda. Make that movie. Make a shot for shot, line for line.
Okay.
Do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Or because that's the other thing I would love to do is I would love to just go see this movie playing somewhere in a theater. I would love to travel back in time to 1997 and go see this opening night with a rowdy audience.
Yeah. Well, what's also really nice about this movie is that it's timeless. It doesn't feel like it's from 1997 in the sense that the characters are in peril, but having a cell phone wouldn't help them. They wouldn't have any means of communication to try and get help aside from maybe a ham radio, which they could have had then.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So it works.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, I mean, a screening revival makes a lot of sense.
What do you think? What do you want to do with this?
Well, as I was going about watching the film, I really did wish that there was a proper Blu-ray release with good bonus features. And so all I would say is that this just needs to get a proper Blu-ray release. And, we don't need the cast to be doing any kind of commentary on it or anything, or even the director, because I kind of don't care what they have to say. I mean, maybe Stoltz, that could be kind of fun. But I kind of want a serious commentary from true film historians. And
yeah. Richard Corliss of Time Magazine.
Yeah, if we had an actual, film historian paired up with a South American snake or
Snake hunter.
reptile expert, that would be perfect. Somebody who could talk about people who could talk about every aspect of this movie.
I would love that. I wouldn't mind hearing some. I mean, I don't know if there are good stories to tell from the making of this. I got no indication from anything I read online as to what the production was like.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind that type of commentary track either.
What kind of commentary track I think this movie needs is commentary from people who are watching it for the first time.
Yes.
Because that's the kind of reaction that would make, that would really make it worth listening to.
I would absolutely listen to that track.
Oh, I'd do it right now if I could. Yeah.
Arrow Home Video Shout Factory. Are you listening?
Kino Lorber. Go ahead.
I saw a funny thing once, and it was, I forget if it was a meme or what it was, but it was someone there was just a dumpster, and it said Arrow Video, and it said, forget the Criterion Vault. I want to go diving into the Arrow dumpster. I was so true. So true.
So I don't know, Dan, if you've seen this type of thing on social media, but there's this trend of people who are listening to famous songs for the first time and kind of getting their reactions to Fleetwood Mac and Phil Collins and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's usually Gen Zers. It's
it's I want them reacting live to Anaconda.
Yes.
We need to set up a distribution house that makes that exact thing.
I think for that we need to build we need to get rent out a theater and then just get the right type of person. Be hey, are you about 20, never seen this movie Anaconda, and want to come see a movie?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And that's it. Don't look anything up.
Yeah.
Just bring people in. Don't even tell them what movie they're seeing.
Absolutely. Well, this concludes our first letter of the alphabet going in the upward trajectory. Dan, before you tell everybody what we're covering for our B episode, I'd like to encourage everybody to go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you like, listening to this and aren't subscribe on whatever platform you like. You can watch us on Spotify or on YouTube. And we just really appreciate everybody who's been leaving comments on YouTube. That's been really fun to keep track of. We had a real Cat Ballou fan, somebody who saw it many times in the theater when it first came out, leave us a comment. So really appreciate that.
Love that.
Cat Ballou is a real fun movie. That was a great way to cap off our second season. So that's pretty great.
What a fun movie.
Yeah. And email us ruinchildhoodspot@gmail.com if there's something alphabetically that you think we need to cover. We are going A to Z and then Z to A, and as many instances of that letter that we can get in there as possible, the better.
Yep. Absolutely. So, and that, of course, we had Anaconda, which has 3 A's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And our movie, well, Now, our movie for next episode, our next episode for B comes to us from the summer of 1988. It's a comedy. That's right. It's Big Business. That's right.
Woo!
Two B's or not two B's. Big Business, directed by Jim Abrams, starring Lily Tomlin, Bette Midler, Fred Ward, Michael Gross. I have to say them twice. Bette Midler, Lily Tomlin, and then Bette Midler and Lily Tomlin.
That's right.
Yes.
That'll make more sense on the next episode.
Of course.
Unless you're familiar with the movie. I was going to say the title of the movie has two B's, but the movie itself has two B's and two L's. So yeah, there you go. Well, Dan, I don't even know what else I could possibly say, but as you are traveling the Amazon with this ragtag group of documentarians and poachers, I wish you a good journey.
Good journey.